Hi friends, my name is Sasha.
And I'm Mia.
And this is the Drawing Club podcast.
A weekly show where we chat about art, creativity, life,
and my cats.
And all of this while drawing a new illustration every week.
And you can draw with us. If you do, please share your creations on social media and tag us in your posts.
Welcome to the club, friends.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome.
So today we have a special guest. And some of you might know who that is already. It's Helen Farley. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Hi, Helen.
Hi.
Hi. So nice to have you here.
Yes. So
thank you for having me.
Yes. Yeah. So Helen organized or like created the exhibition that we had in the summer. So many of you listeners took part in it, and we'll talk more about it later. But yes, we wanted to have Helen over to talk more about what she does. So do you want to introduce yourself shortly before we jump in?
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Helen Farley and I'm a workshop facilitator, artist and curator. And I work with kids and young adults.
That sounds so cool. I can't wait to learn more about what you do.
Yeah, I think like Helen is our first guest who like we haven't known personally beforehand. So that's like super excited because we feel so professional. but also we might be a little like shy or awkward. So hope that's okay for Helen and everyone listening. Do you want to say where you're from?
I'm from the UK, based in London and also Wales. So yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I've been to Wales when I was like 10.
Oh, nice.
It was beautiful. I can't say where exactly, but it was stunning.
Oh. Did you go to?
Yeah, I've never been to Wales, but I've been to London.
Nice.
All right. Okay. Should we start with what we are drawing or what we're working on?
Sure.
So, Mia, do you want to start?
Yes. I don't know. This morning, this is still morning when we're recording, and I was feeling like, I don't know, I'm quite tired. So I had like trouble trying to sketch things out. Like I think I drew a couple of things and nothing was working. So what do I do when I don't know what to draw? I draw myself. So that's what I'm doing today. And I'm actually using my iPad to do that today. How about you, Helen? What are you?
Yeah.
I'm actually making a drawing machine at the moment.
What does that mean? That sounds so cool.
So I kind of like taking drawing sometimes away from the artist's hand and kind of seeing what you can create through kind of incorporating like engineering and things like that. So yeah, and I've kind of got a few 3D printed bits and like some motors and stuff like that. So like a pencil can like hook up to here, and then hopefully it'll be able to move and things like that.
Oh, that looks so cool.
It can
Wow. We have to get like a photo of this amazing robot to show everyone.
Yeah. So for those listening, Helen is showing us like on the video chat the robot that is gonna draw. But yeah, let's put the photo on the Instagram if you don't mind, so others can see your cool robot.
Definitely.
Oh, that sounds so cool. Yeah. I am.
How about you, Sasha?
I decided today to draw something that is not a tattoo design because I feel like I need to also like I've been like really excited about this one thing, but I also like I want to also draw for fun because now this feels like drawing for work, which is like an amazing job, but still, yeah. So I just drew, like I sketched something that I'm really comfortable drawing. It's a person holding a pot with a plant.
Amazing.
And I'm using Copic markers.
Okay, so should we all share, or do we all have something we would like to share with the club today? I hope we do. Would you like to start, Helen?
Yes.
Yeah. I think for this week I was kind of thinking about what I've kind of been watching recently. And I've been watching, I've also made sure that this is kind of on Netflix, kind of like globally as well, but it's a series called Abstract, The Art of Design.
Yes! I watched the episodes too.
Nice. And there's one by Neri Oxman, who's like she's interested in bioarchitecture, and she's kind of used like silkworms to kind of like create different pieces. And then there's another one by Cass Holman as well. She does another episode, and that's all about designing for play.
I've seen that one, and
yeah.
I absolutely love that episode.
Yeah.
That was so amazing, so inspiring.
Yeah, so good. So yeah, no, I'm kind of in the mood of when I'm maybe not feeling as productive, or when I'm kind of like, I don't know, wanting to kind of learn something different. Then those are just like super nice just to kind of like dip into and watch. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
How about you, Mia?
Should Sasha actually go first, because ours are kind of connected? So.
Oh, cool.
Okay, I can go first. Yeah, so this is, again, I have like a running topic now. So yeah, I've been learning to tattoo for a couple months now, or like a whole year now, but like actually learning on people. And I've been working at a studio with Ahma, who has also been a guest at our podcast. But yeah, now Ahma and two other tattoo artists who have been working at the same studio and me, we started our own new studio. We've been planning to do that also like for a while now. Thank you. Yeah, it's been in the plans for a while, and we've been looking at so many spaces in Helsinki, and it's tough to find a good space for a studio. Like, well, it's just tough to find a nice space that is kind of affordable and is nice, but also where the owners are okay with a tattoo studio, because, you know, there's like a bit of a stigma, and of course when people see us, they know that we're not scary or anything, but still, like, not everyone wants a tattoo studio in their building. But we found a gorgeous place. It's like this Jugend style building in this kind of old historical part of town. It's so pretty, and it's pretty huge and affordable, and we have space for like tattoo spots, and then we have a little kitchen, and then we have a back room where we can also put like tables to sit and work on other things, because we all also do like comics and illustrations and other stuff. So it's gonna be like a like not just a tattoo studio, but this whole creative space studio thing. And we're thinking to also do some kind of community events there too, eventually, maybe when it's not pandemic. So yeah, I'm so excited. It's so nice. Like, I never thought I would like find a team to start something like that with. So it's like, it's so special. Like when we were, like every time we're there together and like doing something, preparing and talking about it, I'm like about to cry, and others, like we've had like some cries already all together, because we're like all so excited and like so happy that we found this really nice group of people where like everybody is on the same page, and we like all enjoy each other's company, and it's like so nice to work together. So yeah, it's been so special, and I'm so happy that it's happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm so happy for you. And
Thank you.
Also my weekly thing has something to do with this, because last Saturday we actually painted the studio together, and I was there to help, because I was like, oh my god, if like some of my favorite people are gonna start this thing together. Like, I have to be involved. Like, I can't just, like, I'm not a tattoo artist, so, but I want to do something to contribute because I'm like so excited for you. So I came to help with the painting, and I was actually appointed an honorary member of the tattoo studio, which was another thing that made us all cry pretty much. But yeah, it was so nice to kind of be a little part of it, even though I'm not like an official studio member. But I hope to also.
Yeah, it was really nice to have you. Yes, and Mia helped us so much. I don't think we would have done all the work that we managed to do on the weekend without Mia, and it was like really nice to have you around. And
Same.
yes, I'm hoping that Mia will come over and we can like work together at the studio also. So
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Thank you for welcoming me to be a part of it. Nice.
of course. All right, but I guess we can move on to the official part
So fancy.
of the episode. Yes. So, yeah, let's talk about you, Helen. So, do you want to like tell us a bit more about like what you do, about your work, and I mean, if you want to tell us about your life too, just like kind of about you and yeah, what you do.
So I'm predominantly a workshop facilitator, working with children and young people, kind of teaching all about STEAM education, which is kind of science, technology, engineering, art and mathematics. And I was kind of teaching that in person in kind of like after school clubs and events and things like that. And now that's kind of progressed to teaching online now, and teaching kids actually quite a lot of virtual and augmented reality, which is then how I've then been working on different exhibitions and things like that. And I've also been not just teaching online, teaching virtual reality, but also kind of teaching kids like coding and robotics and things like that too. So yeah, just kind of engaging their curiosity in different things.
That sounds so cool. Yeah. So do you have background in both the arts and like engineering then, like through studies, or how did you get to do this?
Yeah. I know it's quite a weird mix, but
I love it. It sounds so cool.
I actually studied arts at uni at the University of Westminster, and it was mixed media, fine art, so we were kind of able to do really quite a lot of and explored a lot of different materials through learning on that course. And that was when I kind of actually started off on that course, kind of drawing and experimenting with different materials. And then that kind of led into my curiosity of then actually making drawing machines. So I started then using like found objects, like I used like an umbrella frame, and I like stripped the material off of the umbrella frame, and then like charcoal would kind of go on the ends of like each like bit of the umbrella, and there was a motor inside, and it would kind of like move around almost like this insect on the paper, and it would kind of like create all of these drawings like on the paper. So yeah, that's kind of how it progressed from like drawing into like being interested in the process of it creating work.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, I feel like my mouth is just like open the whole time we were talking. I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Like so inventive and like so fun, like very like playful also. I love that.
Yeah, I wanted to also like ask, in case some of our listeners don't know, could you maybe explain what is like virtual reality and augmented reality are?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So virtual reality is sometimes where you can put on a headset and you can kind of go into your own world that you've created. But you can also get a similar experience through, if you're looking at it on a laptop or tablet as well, where you can kind of scroll around the world and it's like 360. So you're seeing all around you and then like above and below you too. And then augmented reality is kind of similar to Pokemon Go in terms of you can like you can interact with the world around you through kind of creating your own world, and your own characters are kind of popping up in like your own home or wherever you are.
Yeah, I love how like usually when people talk about those things like virtual reality or robotics or like all of those things that you're talking about, it always sounds like it's something that has to do with engineering, with something technical. And I think it's like so new for many people that like your approach, that it's like about art, that you studied art and then that's the medium you chose, that like you don't have to have a background in like maths and physics to use this medium, that like you can be an artist in that medium. I think it's really cool, and I think it like might like can be like new for and eye-opening for many people.
Yeah, like and encouraging that even without like an education in it, it's you can still like. So how did you just like how did you kind of teach yourself how to create those spaces? Like, did you study online, kind of? Is there, like, a lot of information available if someone was like, oh, my God, I wanna learn how to do that?
Yeah. I think a lot of it was, self-teaching. And I think that's kind of what I love being, a workshop facilitator, is when I'm teaching kids or I'm teaching young people how to use like certain technologies and stuff like that, then it really encourages my like capacity to want to learn, and obviously you want to support them in the best way. So I feel like I'm constantly having to kind of refresh and like relearn different things. So I've always been kind of interested in working with and teaching like kids and young adults in that way to kind of encourage them. But in terms of when I was at uni, I think kind of like technically wise, I was using things initially that were kind of pre-built motors, or a lot of things that maybe needed like batteries and things like that. And just kind of also just taking like different toys apart and then just using bits of machines that are in different toys. So not like making it really daunting for myself in terms of like I've got to try and connect this to this, and so just kind of like stripping things down that I'm familiar with, and then just kind of then taking and putting them and using them in different ways through play and like exploring the process of it, and they're in terms of like coding and things like that too. That was just something that I was just really interested in, and I never thought that I'd kind of go into that. I never was taught coding at school, but in terms of kind of where my practice was kind of leading, I was just like, actually this is something really interesting that is going to kind of feed into to the work that I do. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so. It's like super interesting. It's totally different from anything that we do or anyone. Like, I don't know anyone who does that. I'm not saying you're the only person, but I've never talked to a person. I've never like heard anyone's experience with that. That is so cool. And also, like just, I feel like there's still this very, like quite a strong like, what is the word that I'm looking for? But it feels like, you know, arts is one thing, and then like, you know, engineering and hard sciences is another thing, and they're kind of like in this weird competitive almost, or like kind of, they're like pitted against each other kind of, which like, I love seeing someone kind of, you know, combining them in creative new ways. And like, yeah, and I feel like a lot of maybe people who are into art might, like, I guess on both sides there might be like some prejudice kind of about like the other thing, but so I love how you're just taking them and creating something amazing and creative.
We can, no, I completely agree. And like we can learn so much from each other that I think it's kind of a shame that we're not kind of listening to the other side of it sometimes, or working with people that we kind of think may have a certain view on something, but actually there are so many like projects and like funding things out there that are like specifically for like these sorts of collaborations, and like trying to mesh these things together a lot more. So, and at the end of the day, it's like it's kind of similar to when you're, you know, collaborating, or when I reached out to you two saying like, would you like me to make a virtual exhibition for you? Like, that's like completely different. So it's just like, it's about leaping out of your comfort zone sometimes and kind of seeing what happens.
Yeah, I love that. So would you like to tell us about this exhibition, and maybe like organizing virtual exhibitions in general, and like what you did for us and our listeners? So.
Yeah, and like how did you decided to approach us, and like how did you have this idea?
So I think before lockdown and everything happened, I was teaching kids and young adults about virtual reality in person through kind of doing workshops. And so I'd been kind of using the software that I was using a fair bit, and I was teaching them about coding and things like that. And when lockdown happened, I was just like, I really missed, you know, going to exhibitions or you know, going out and viewing artwork. And it was just like, it was something that I really missed, and I know a lot of my friends and family really missed too. And really, like the first initial idea for the first Watch This VR space was to help support my friends and university students that I was with, and kind of get their artwork out there, and also like kind of making an event so that we can all just kind of network and get together and just have a bit of a chat, and like it's something to look forward to. Like I think it's so important during this time to like have things to look forward to. So that was kind of the idea for the first one, and I hadn't made anything in VR that was a gallery space before, but I don't know, I could see how it would kind of look, and I'm by no means saying that this is, you know, ever gonna be so much better than seeing artwork in real life. That's definitely not what it's about. It's just you know, kind of supporting artists, and also kind of getting that discussion going. So I just thought I'd kind of play and experiment, and that's how I then kind of put the exhibition together, and it started to take shape as like artworks were coming in from my friends, and then that's kind of how I was then getting to grips with the layout, and the coding I kind of knew but not quite in the same way, so I was kind of like playing and altering kind of throughout. So it was really just an amazing learning experience as well, just having this idea and then just kind of slowly but steadily getting it to, you know, fruition. And then it was the launch event, and it was like, wow, okay.
I created an exhibition.
Wow. Almost like surprise, but So yeah, and then like throughout, I started listening to the Drawing Club podcast, and I just felt, you know, really inspired, and also like there was such an amazing community that you definitely have. And that was when I was then kind of thinking, you know, for my friends and like family and stuff like that I've been able to support with the first exhibition, I was just like, actually this could be amazing to kind of showcase it out a little bit more, but also have like a wider reach and get artists from all over the world to just be like, look, we really just want to see your artwork because you make some really cool stuff. And yeah, so that was and I was just like, right, I need to try and reach out and see whether I can do something. So yeah.
Yeah, and that was like so exciting. Like we were so excited when you did reach out. We hadn't ever thought of anything like that, and I had never like participated in anything like that, and it was so amazing. And like the way people got involved and excited was just like, I didn't expect so many people to be like so excited to participate. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, I feel like thanks to like your idea, we also got so much closer with our community. Like we got to have this opening party chat, and we got like some artwork from them. So we actually, even though we see like people's artwork all the time because they tag us in their posts, and that's like super nice, and like we are so happy all the time we see them. But I think this was like a different level already, because that was like so like, I don't know, they actually sent us their artwork, they told us about it, and then on the opening like party group chat we kind of also discussed everyone's artwork, so it was like, it was so special. Yeah, and I'm so happy for like how like people like you, like when the lockdown happened, like you used that to like come up with like new ideas of doing things. And I think, yeah, as you say, like a virtual exhibition is not the same as like an IRL exhibition, but I still think that there are things that are like there are some things about virtual exhibitions that are better than IRL also, like because I feel like those can be like more accessible in many ways, because the real exhibition field can be sometimes very like closed and hard to get into. So like this kind of like smaller projects like this, I think are like amazing for people to like get this boost of confidence by like of taking part in an exhibition, and also how we could like put together art from people all over the world. Like we could never organize something like this in real life for like our listeners. So I think like because there was this problem, like you came up with this creative solution that then like was so beneficial to everyone. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah,
no, and I
yeah.
And I honestly appreciate like so much that you both kind of trusted for me to just kind of take it. It was just you openly just said, look, we don't really know what but you know, it's just like yeah, no, it was
just
great.
do your thing.
Great. Yeah.
You're sure we're gonna love it?
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
And I tried to like interweave bits of the podcast in, and there had to be a cat. I mean, there had to be a cat, didn't there?
The cat was amazing.
Yeah, that was really appreciated. Yeah, that was like a cherry on top of the cake. Yeah. All right. Well, when we discussed this beforehand, you mentioned that your practice have like shifted over the years. So do you maybe wanna like talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So yeah, it started when I was at uni, kind of going into drawing, and then that was kind of what then led on to kind of playing with different bits of machinery and like tinkering, and now it's kind of forming into virtual reality, augmented reality, but also still kind of keeping that physical element by kind of 3D printing different components, and yeah, just kind of playing and tinkering with different materials. I'd say that's kind of how it's shifted, and it's definitely like my coding's definitely got a lot better over the years, and just kind of like the different technologies that I'm now able to use. Like I use the BBC Microbit, which is like this little mini computer which has like a little LED screen on it, and you can code and do lots of different things with that. And then for virtual and augmented reality, I've been kind of seeing, you know, what kind of spaces can be made, kind of how different ages can interact with it, and yeah, just kind of constantly trying to shift my practice along so that, you know, I'm constantly learning new things, and, you know, I'm always kind of keeping my mind active, and that, I think that then just makes me even like more engaged and excited to then like teach other people different things too. So yeah.
So what are you planning to work on next? Like, is there something you want to learn or like try out?
Ooh, so I think something that I've had a go at doing, which I'd quite like to kind of continue a bit more on it, is last year I did like a Japanese woodcut printing course, and that was really, really good, just to like carving into the wood and kind of making different patterns and like different textures. I found it really, really therapeutic, and like, it was nice to have, you know, some space away from the computer as well, and just to kind of, I guess it's you know, similar to kind of like the act of drawing or and things like that too, is like you kind of get immersed in the experience, as well as, you know, kind of what you're drawing to. So yeah, no, I love that, and I quite like the process of it, and then how you're kind of building up the different layers of it too. So that's definitely something that I kind of want to explore a little bit more.
That sounds so cool. I would love to try that. I've never tried like any kind of like, is lino cut another type where you also carve something? And I guess there's like so many of those kinds of, I've never tried any. That would be so beautiful. But I love how your approach is like, I don't know, like constantly kind of evolving your creative practice and trying out new things and staying like I love that, because also I feel like one type of narrative, and like when it comes to kind of artists or something, is like you have to specialize in something. That's the only way to like master that one technique or something, and like that's the way to. But like I find, like for myself, I would not feel creative if I only did art in one way. Like I also, because already I feel like drawing is my main thing, drawing and painting, but I do also really enjoy like making music every now and then, and sometimes I've done pottery, or sometimes I like take photographs, and I really enjoy photography. So I love when people kind of do different things to kind of get those creative juices flowing, or to kind of keep things interesting. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I mean, not saying that there's anything wrong.
Pottery and stuff too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with like if someone wants to like specialize in something, but like I don't relate to that personally, so I think it's refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering like if anyone, because since you're talking about teaching people, like is there anyone people can participate in your workshops, or are they like already part of some school or something?
So
like if someone listening wants to participate.
Oh yeah. So I actually teach kind of one-to-one for like teaching like virtual and augmented reality, and that this is something new that I've started doing now, and that's with creatives, so people that are just interested to kind of explore virtual and augmented reality, and maybe they want to use it in their work, or maybe they're just kind of keen to explore. So yeah, if any of your listeners would like to have a go, then I'd totally be up for doing that. Otherwise, kind of a lot of the other workshops that I do are kind of either with kind of schools or institutions and things like that.
Oh, but that's perfect. So listen up if you're interested in learning about virtual reality. Hit Helen up.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Before we go to the question of the week, one last question. So I think this could be like a combination question. So like if there's something you would want to say to your younger self when you are starting out, or if like somebody else is like thinking of dipping their toes into what you do, like do you have any advice?
So I think kind of when I first started out kind of freelance a couple of years ago, I'd say that there's definitely kind of a lot of power in kind of saying no sometimes, and kind of doing projects that that you really want to do. Like your time and energy is kind of really precious. So it's if you're giving all of your energy out in too many different directions, then you're not keeping that little bit for yourself where you've got the kind of momentum to kind of want to learn and maybe want to try new things. So I'd say definitely apply to lots of different projects that are out there, and also to not really, I know it's really easy to kind of feel quite intimidated sometimes by if you're like applying to a certain institution or a certain job, and it's just that actually just go for it. And even if you don't think that you maybe have the skill set at the time, you can always be developing your skill set as you're kind of moving along. And actually one of the things that I kind of started doing kind of as I was trying to build up like freelance work that I do now was volunteering. And I think actually doing something that maybe is a little bit away from what you're kind of applying to, just kind of like it's kind of keeping momentum, and you're talking to different people from different backgrounds, different ages, and actually kind of having something that you're kind of doing while you're you might get rejections from different things, you may not get certain positions that you maybe are kind of like aiming towards. Like actually having that is really, really good. And that's actually where I started volunteering with kids, and that was how I then was just like, actually I kind of really want to kind of go into teaching a little bit more. So yeah, it's amazing kind of how things can feed into each other. So yeah, take as many opportunities as you can, and like try and reach out to just people that you find interesting, and see what happens.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for that advice.
Yeah, I've been like also like thinking about that, like when you're just starting out and like trying to just accept like some kind of jobs to at least gain experience, I think it might be like much more valuable, if of course you can afford it financially, to like volunteer with projects that you really feel strongly about, rather than pick up a job that is like not a good fit for you, but you just want to like get something to get experience. I think it's like for your future it might be much more valuable to actually like maybe volunteer, but put your energy into something that like you care about, because then there is of course the opportunity you will get hired in the same area, so then you will like love your job, other than like then people like paying you little for something that you don't even enjoy, and then they might not even like value you that much.
I definitely had like a few part-time jobs as I was also doing like the volunteering as well. So yeah, no, like you were saying, it's definitely good to kind of keep things up. But if you can kind of like diversify and, you know, give your time to projects that you want to do too, then that's definitely a really good point.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we go to the question of the week?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I can read that. All right. So, Co-Creations asked, do you ever go really out of your comfort zone with art, materials, or subject? So we thought it would be like, I mean, thank you first of all for your question. And we thought it would be really interesting to also ask Helen about that, since your medium is like so different from ours. So like we could get different perspectives of what getting out of your comfort zone even means. So I don't know, Helen, do you want to start?
No, that's a really great question. In terms of kind of how I try and push myself out of my comfort zone, there are definitely kind of days where actually kind of going back to basics and just kind of starting from there. So maybe starting with drawing or listening to music, and there are definitely days where I'm just like actually maybe not pushing myself is kind of what I'm wanting to do today, but actually kind of thinking about kind of all of the things that you'd quite like to kind of play and test with. And even if it's just like this one thing where you're just like, oh, actually I've kind of got the means to be able to do it, or that I've got something like sitting in the corner of my room that I'm just like, should I go and test it? But actually just like putting no pressure on it. I think there's kind of a lot of kind of stigma around this kind of like idea of failure, and like there's definitely in my mind I'm really interested in kind of like playing with chance and failure, and actually just having a go and just playing and just seeing what happens, just getting involved with the process of it. I think in some ways makes it a little bit personally easier for me to get out of my comfort zone, is just thinking about the process rather than, oh, I have to make this outcome straight away. It's just like, actually I just want to kind of play and just see what happens.
Yeah, I love that. I definitely relate to this. I feel this fear of failure a lot, and I think, and I guess we've talked about it earlier on this podcast, but there's also this, because we are illustrators, so like when we draw there's always like the possibility kind of to monetize that, so there's this kind of pressure to create things that can be monetized kind of all the time. If you're like spending your time to draw this, you better like make it, worth it, which is like so much pressure and definitely like kills creativity. So I've been trying to figure out like ways to allow myself more time to kind of just play around without that. But I definitely I don't do it as much as I would like, and I'm still trying to learn, but I do sometimes draw in totally different ways than I do like publicly kind of, but I don't share those, which I guess also like helps take the pressure out. I don't have to think about like, oh, does this look like my art in quotation marks? Like, does this, you know, it's something totally different. I'm not trying to think about like, is this cohesive with my style? It's really nice to sometimes just paint with inks, like some random blobs and shapes, and like just like, I don't know, listen to some music and just like just let whatever flow out of it, and it like just abstract stuff. Like I really like that, and it's totally different, and I don't think I would ever share it, but I definitely see the value in doing that, because you have to get out of that pressure box of like everything being productive and everything being like monetizable.
Yeah, I also like, I can relate to that, like not doing it enough, like not going out of my comfort zone enough in my practice, even though whenever I do, I feel that it's always very valuable, even if I don't necessarily like get any kind of results out of it. Like it's still like trying something new often it's just kind of like this breath of fresh air, kind of like when you're stuck in something, it's nice to just sometimes, just for fun, just try something new. But I think it's when like art is our job, it's like so important to remember to do things just for fun sometimes, because sometimes you forget about it, because I think like with traditional jobs, like people don't really do that just for fun. It's like you go to work, you do it, and then you go home and you do other stuff just for fun. But when we have creative jobs, sometimes like a similar activity can be for job and just for fun, and then it's like really hard to like either like draw a line or then like navigate that. Like if it's not a line, if it's a spectrum, then also like it's difficult to navigate, because sometimes you do something just for fun and then you create something that you want to sell, or sometimes you're trying to create something you want to sell and it doesn't work out, and then you're like stressed and it's not fun. So it's like it's interesting that there's like no clear distinction sometimes, but it's, I think, as you, Mia, said, I think sometimes it's nice to actually like kind of force this distinction somehow, like, okay, now I sit down and I'm gonna do something, I don't know what it's gonna be, I'm just gonna do it for fun, I'm not gonna share it anywhere, it's not for any project, I'm just doing this just to do it. Like I think if you struggle with like going out of your comfort zone and doing art just for fun, I think it could be good to actually like consciously decide that now I'm just gonna draw for fun and I'm gonna try new things and I'm not gonna like strive for any result.
I think we're always trying to learn, and like even when we're, you know, kids, and we're just so like curious about testing different things, and that is how you learn. You're learning through playing and doing, and it's just like trying to get back into that mode when you're just like, oh, I've got this deadline to meet or things like that. But that's why I think it's great that you're doing, you know, tattooing and things like that at the moment, Sasha, and like you're diversifying in that direction and you're learning, and like that's great.
That has been like very valuable to me too, like because I've been kind of like stuck creatively lately for a while, but this has been like really good for me to just try something like completely different. And also, but I also like take my art style that I already have developed, and then I'm like, how can I now from like what I do now turn it into this other medium? Like how can something that I already draw become tattoos? So that is like so refreshing, because I feel like I still use all those skills that I've developed over the years, but I still feel like I'm making something completely different, like, and kind of switching my brain around like helps so much. But also it doesn't feel like all these years of like learning illustration are for nothing, because I kind of just like put those things onto something else. So it's like, that's that has been very valuable. So I think it's like very nice to sometimes try something completely different. It felt, I also had like experience with like carving several years ago when I did like a artist residency in like a printing museum in Estonia, and there I learned like linocut, and that was also like so refreshing that I took designs that I already had and I just carved them from linoleum and it was so cool because it was like reimagining something I'm already doing, and also like seeing other people's reactions, because also like it was different from like traditional linocut, because I took something that was not created for linocut but then made linocuts. So for like other people it was also like, wow, these are like so different from like other linocuts, and then it was also very nice like to hear that. For me, like it's like a very nice boost of confidence when like when I feel like these designs are already so boring, I don't know what to do with them, and then suddenly they're like in some other material. So I think it's also like it's, for me it's really cool to, if I don't feel like creating something new, to take something what I already created but then put them on like a completely different medium, and then it's that becomes very inspiring.
And like Mia as well, when you were creating the children's book that you were talking about too, like that's also kind of like diversifying and taking it in a different direction.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I love that. And I think you two are now like, you're inspiring me to like, I want to do workshops, like I want to participate in workshops, I want to learn, like I want to try out new things, because I think I haven't really, and it would be very helpful to maybe have someone show the way. So I'm like, that's one goal for next year. I want to try out new things creatively, definitely.
And there are so many, it's amazing how many things that we can actually do from our own homes and things like that. I mean, I know a lot of people kind of use Skillshare and you know, YouTube videos and things like that to learn. So there's so much material out there, and sometimes it can feel a bit overwhelming, but just being like, actually, you know, I just wanted to try this, and then just kind of go for it.
Perfect. That's good advice.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Helen, so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It was really interesting to learn what you do, and like really inspiring.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we will share our drawings that we've done today and your drawing machine, Helen. We'll share all of those on our social media, and for those of you watching on YouTube, these will come in a couple seconds on the screen, so watch out. Yes. Helen, like, where can people find you?
So on Instagram you can find me at Helen_Elizabeth_Farley, and my website is helenfarley.co.uk.
Perfect. So we'll also link those in the descriptions and share those on Instagram and everything.
Thank you.
We will. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. We really did.
Yes, this was so cool. I love having guests because I get so inspired from hearing people talk about something they're passionate about. It's always like, oh, I really want to try new things too. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that could be another advice for getting out of your comfort zone. Like, talk to someone who does something very different, and like already that is so inspiring.
It is.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, see you everyone next week. And bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Drawing Club podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram at Drawing Club Podcast, or email us at drawingclubpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also find me, Mia, on Instagram at mia.minerva, and on YouTube as Mia Minerva. Sasha, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at Sasha_Kretova.
This podcast was created by us, Mia Minerva and Sasha Kretova.
Olli Arni created the theme song and assisted with the recording, and Dmitry Zherbin took care of audio mastering.
Welcome to the club, friends.